The left told us that 51% get to rule. And now they're furious that 51% is actually ruling. Here's the part that should make you stop and think this morning. There's something going on in our politics right now that is both funny and ironic at the same time. So much so that it almost needs its own word. Let's call it funronic. Because watching the political left erupt over congressional district map being redrawn to favor Republican fits that definition perfectly. Perfectly. They're they're outraged. They're calling it unfair, undemocratic, even dangerous. But here's the question that cuts right through all the BS. Isn't that exactly the system they've been telling us to trust for years? Haven't we been told over and over and over again that democracy means majority rule? President Obama said that elections have consequences, that the will of the people must prevail. Well, Republican voters in a number of states went out and elected Republican majorities in their state legislatures. They went, okay, bet. Okay. And those legislatures are now doing what legislatures have always done, using the authority that comes with winning to draw congressional maps. Now, that's not some corruption of the system. That's the system working exactly like it was designed. Now, suddenly, though, the tone has changed. Now the majority is being accused of overreach. Now the minority is being described as under attack. Now we're hearing calls to protect democracy from the very process that was just celebrated when it produced different outcomes. There is where the irony really lands. You don't get to spend years preaching that 51% gets to decide for the 49% and then object when you find yourself in the 49%. That's not a principled stand. That's frustration over losing power. And that's the deeper truth behind all of this. That's what this is all about here. This really isn't about maps. It's not even fundamental about fairness. It's about control. Because when Democrats draw maps in states they control, it's framed as protecting communities or ensuring representation. When Republicans do the same thing in states they control, it suddenly becomes a threat to the republic. Same process, different languages, depending on who benefits. At some point, we have to stop pretending that this is anything other than a power struggle inside a system that assigns real authority to the people who win elections. State legislatures are not symbolic bodies. They have constitutional roles, and one of those roles, whether you like it or not, is shaping congressional districts. If voters don't like how that power is being used, the remedy isn't outrage. The remedy is to win the next election and take that power back. That's how self-government works. And that's the part that often gets ignored. Everybody wants to focus on the presidency, but it's these state level victories that determine who draws the lines, who writes the rules, and who shapes the political battlefield for the years to come. Conservatives were told for a long time, if you don't like it, win elections. So in many places, they went, bet. They did exactly that. And now we're watching the reaction. So what we're really seeing isn't the collapse of democracy. We're seeing a collision between a slogan and reality. The slogan says, majority rule is sacred. The reality is that majority rule can feel very different depending on what side of it you're on. And when that reality sets in, suddenly the language changes. Suddenly we hear about fairness. Suddenly we hear about restraints. suddenly we hear about protecting minorities. Those are serious ideas and they matter, but they weren't part of the conversation when the same majority rule logic was producing different outcomes. That's the contradiction. And it tells you something important. When some people say democracy, what they often mean is results we agree with. When those results don't show up, the system itself gets blamed. The takeaway is simple, and it doesn't require a law degree to understand. If you believe in majority rule, you have to accept it even when it doesn't go your way. If you believe that elections have consequences, then those consequences don't come with an asterisk. If you don't like the outcome, there is a path forward, but it doesn't involve rewriting the definition of democracy. It involves organizing, persuading, and winning the next election. That's the deal. And that's always been the deal. And what we're watching right now across the country are a whole lot of people coming to terms with the fact that the rules that they championed apply to them too. And what they want to admit or not, that's exactly what makes this moment so funronic. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is production of fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.